Hey, welcome back to Monkey Business Off-Road. I'm Nick, aka Dad, and this week we are installing more lights on our Bronco. Now, last week we did install SAE Baja Squadrons on our Bronco. We wanted something that was able to be run on the road with foggy nights and things like that. And not blind other drivers, so we put those on. So we'll post a link up top if you want to see that install. This week we are installing off-road lights only. We are putting on Squadron Pros, but this is a non-upfitter switch kit. This one actually has a toggle switch. Didn't realize it when I bought it, but we're going to show you how to make that work. So in case you have a set that doesn't have the ability to have upfitter switch done to it, because it comes with, like what we had, a toggle switch. We're going to show you how to wire it right into an auxiliary upfitter switch, show you how that's done, make it really easy for you. So let's get started. Now what we'll be using for our light for this install, like I said, was a Squadron Pro. And the nice thing about this is it has our two spots down here, so give us a beam out front, but then also has our wide cornering lens here at the top. Actually, we'll end up flipping this around because right now the lens is actually upside down, because usually they come like this, but since we need to mount ours upside down, we'll just flip this lens over. Cool thing about Baja Designs and a bunch of other companies, you can get different lenses. So if you want to switch these out from wide cornering just a spot up front, you can do that. Still get it in like amber or clear. But yeah, we'll get the bracket installed here so we can install this and then get on with the wiring. One thing I have noticed when you're putting in these brackets, it's so much easier just to set the nut on top and then use the bolt and thread it into the nut instead of trying to spin the nut on top of the bolt. Now, one thing you'll want to do before you really tighten this down is just make sure you've got the bracket where you want. So when you install the light itself, you don't have to go back and take off the light just to get back to the bolt, because it will be behind it. So just remember to check that before you tighten it down all the way and put in your light. Now with the kit, they also give you some more machine screws with hex heads on the top. And then they give you some of what I call lock washers. Got little teeth on them just so when you tighten down, the light won't move from where you've got it located at. Gotta get these on next. Now, the one reason you don't want to tighten these down too much and want to be able to turn them is so you can get to these, putting in these machine screws and this lock washer, because it's kind of tough if you can't get to it sideways here. And they do have some Loctite on them already, so you kind of got to get them past that and started to really get them to engage and be able to really spin this in pretty easily, just so you know. All right, so here's the kit that Baja Designs gives you. It's a ton of wiring here. This one, like I said, was not for an upfitter switch, so it has a 30 amp fuse in here. Goes to a relay, which is I've taken apart, because what I've done is, oh, and here's basically the toggle switch that they give you. I've cut off the black and white all the way to these connectors, because these connectors go right into the back of the Squadron Pros. They've got their wiring harness already to them, so these will go to those, and then we'll take these up to the upfitter switch. Let's show you where we go with this. All right, we've got the wires connected. I've found just a spot that's kind of back here on the driver's side in the fender. Obviously with our relocation box, we've had other wires taking lots of spots. I mean, there's not a lot of places. You would think in these Broncos there'd be plenty of places to stick stuff, but boy, it gets harder and harder to find a good place. So this is, if I ever took off the fender, you're gonna be able to see these wires. They just basically go up here through next to the fender and then up here. So yeah, I'm path of least resistance, because I've got a good ground right here, and then right back there will be our wiring for our upfitter switches. So should make it a little bit easier to then route these wires from here back by the fuse box back to our auxiliary switches and get them hooked up to probably auxiliary 4. Need to check the diagram just to make sure I get the right wire, and we'll show you which one that is. All right, so we've got the wiring pulled up like I talked about, and now I'm trying to get down to 1 wire each. So I've put 2 of my powers together with one of my solder sticks here. So now we only have to run 1 wire to one of the upfitter lines, which will be powered already. We won't need to run one to the battery. It'll come out of the fuse box here, which will get power. And then I've taken and already made a my grounds have been tied together here, and we'll probably just use the one right here on the battery because it's a smaller bolt. So we'll use that, tie those in, and then tie into the upfitter switches up there, which I said I think we're going to use auxiliary 4, and we'll tie into that, and I'll show you which color that is here. All right, so this is in the Bronco owner's manual. Looked up aux wiring, that didn't get me anything. Looked up wiring, that finally brought up, you know, a bunch of stuff, which is auxiliary wiring, which is, if you're looking for this, just put in wiring, it'll show you identifying your auxiliary switch wiring. So you've got aux 1, which is 30 amp, aux 2, which is 15 amp, and then 3, 4, 5, and 6 are all 10 amp fuses. So we should be okay with using auxiliary 4, which is a brown wire. I just wanted to space in between for right now. So I think 3 we'll have something coming up here pretty soon, which is violet and green. But right now we're going to be looking for the brown wire, and we'll connect to the brown wire, which will be a 10 amp circuit. All right, so under the hood here, you've got your fuse box here in front of me. And then here's our all brown wire. We'll just clip the end off here. We'll tie that 1 wire I have now for power right into here. But yeah, it's always good to look at that manual first, just to be sure which wiring, because some of these are going to be non-powered. They come from all over the vehicle. Right here, for instance, this purple and gray comes from the grill. And then I tied it into yellow and red, which I believe was auxiliary switch 6. So now we'll tie into the brown wire here, which will be powered, and we'll be able to get power straight to them without having to do anything else. Well, I've got my ground connected to here. I try never to touch the negative or the ground on the battery anymore. Those things are really finicky, and I'll tell you what, if you over tighten it, that thing won't ever tighten down again. So be careful with that. And then we've got our connection here. Here's our solder stick, our power with the brown wire on the auxiliary 4. So I've tested that. That seems good. So now just a moment of truth. See if I did this right. Hey, it looks like I did it right. We've got our ambers, our Squadron Pros are going. Look good. Definitely a lot brighter than the SAEs that are right next to them. But yeah, that's one of our off-road lights done and completed. Hey, thanks for watching. We appreciate it. You know, Monk isn't here today, but she will be helping me on our next light addition to the to our Bronco. But hopefully you found this informative. You know, the wiring diagram and how you wire them up, it's really good to know. You do have to remember there is a difference between the powered wires and the non-powered wires. The non-powered wires are the ones that just kind of run through the vehicle, so you can attach at the back, or you got the ones up at the front or in the passenger compartment, or even the one that's kind of up on the roof there for lights up there. So just be sure you remember which ones are the powered, which ones are not powered. The auxiliary switches are the power, and if you're looking for the tie-ins, those are non-powered. So just remember that. But hopefully you found this informative, how to put in your lights, a little bit simpler way, especially when you can get down to just 1 wire that basically does your ground and one that does your power. So as always, we appreciate you watching. And if you have any questions about something you've put on, we are only DIY mechanics around here. So we just go for it and hope for the best, do our research and that. So if any questions come up for you, don't hesitate to put a question or comment down below. And if you're not a subscriber yet, please, we'd love for you to be part of the Monkey Business Off-Road family. So hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to hit that bell notification. We try to get out videos every Tuesday and Friday. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, being a family of, well, soon to be 5. But We appreciate you guys watching, and yeah, we'll see you in the next video. Have a blessed day. Bye.